The world turned blurry, but my heart stayed still. It was Tuesday lunch hour in the loudest, busiest place in the whole city, the Northwood High Cafeteria. The air smelled of spilled soda and stale pizza. I was standing by the big glass doors, waiting for my friend Shay. We were supposed to go home early. Everything felt normal until it didn't. First, the noise stopped. Not all the noise, but the laughing noise. I saw the change first in Daryl's face. He was looking at his phone, his mouth wide like a hungry fish. Then Maria grabbed his arm and she stared too. It spread fast, like a stain on a white shirt. Everyone, the jocks, the cheerleaders, the quiet kids, even the strict lunch monitors, they all looked at their phones. Then they looked at me. That's when I knew. The moment of fire, my secret. The thing I kept locked deep inside, the dream I let no one touch, the future I built in the dark, it was out. I watched Shay walk toward me, her smile huge and fake, like a plastic doll's. She didn't look at her phone. She looked straight at me, her eyes saying, I did this, and I win. I knew what she had done. She had exposed my hidden life. My real name wasn't just Maya, I was Cinder. Cinder was the digital artist who built huge, beautiful, impossible worlds online. Worlds that were quiet and safe, unlike this noisy, mean cafeteria. For 3 years, I kept Cinder a ghost, separate from Maya, the quiet girl in the gray hoodie. Shay found the link 2 weeks ago. She found the email, the secret portfolio, and the biggest secret of all, the application. The application to the prestigious Design Institute, the one that offered a $50,000 scholarship prize. The prize that would let me escape this concrete jungle forever. Shay was supposed to be my best friend since we were 7. We shared chipped fries and chipped secrets. But Shay wanted the spotlight. She wanted to be the main girl. She hated that Maya, the quiet one, might actually fly higher than her. So she took my dream and she cut the wings off, right here in front of everyone. I saw the link she posted. It was shared on the school's unofficial gossip page. A direct link to my Cinder portfolio with a caption, "Look who's too good for Northwood High. Maya's trying to leave us, but her art is basic AF." It was vicious. It was public. It was meant to kill my chances and my pride in one shot. The whole cafeteria was waiting for me to cry, waiting for me to run or yell or crumble. This was the retention wall. This was the moment I was supposed to break and they could all feast on my tears. But I didn't cry. I didn't run. I didn't even drop my backpack. I looked at Shay. She was waiting for the panic. She was waiting for the sound of my life shattering, but I had already changed all the passwords. And Shay didn't know about the counter secret. The counter secret was the only thing that mattered now. Our friendship was built on the bus ride to middle school. Shay was loud, funny, and always in trouble. I was the opposite. I was the safe harbor she could always crash into. And I loved her. I felt like I needed to protect her. But Shay always measured things. She counted my achievements against hers. If I got an A, she needed an A+. If I got a new pair of shoes, she needed 2. It was small, like a mosquito bite, but it never stopped. When I started my art account, Cinder, I kept it secret. Not because I was ashamed, but because I knew Shay would try to claim it, copy it, or crush it. I had to keep this one thing pure. Cinder was my heir. I spent every night for 3 months creating the submission for the $50,000 Future Architect Scholarship. It was a digital model of a community center, a safe, bright space for our neighborhood. It was the best thing I had ever made. The deadline was tonight at midnight. The submission required a personal essay and the portfolio link. 2 weeks ago, Shay begged to borrow my laptop. She said hers was broken and she needed to finish an essay. I should have said no. But loyalty is a hard chain to break. I watched her face when she looked away from the screen. That sudden stillness in her eyes. I knew she had seen something, an open tab, a folder name, a link. I saw the teeth behind the plastic smile. I didn't panic then, either. I closed the laptop, smiled, and said, "Thanks, girl." That night, I started building my defense. I knew the storm was coming. Shay always attacked when she felt threatened. And the Cinder portfolio was the biggest threat to her ego I had ever posed. My defense was simple. Anticipate, sacrifice, counter. Back in the cafeteria, the silence was still heavy. Shay took a step toward me. She wore a bright, new jacket. She looked ready for her victory speech. Hey, Maya, she said, her voice dripping with fake pity. Did you see the gossip page? So messed up. People are so mean. She was waiting for me to say, Did you do this? She wanted the confrontation, the scene, the drama. She wanted to be seen as the caring best friend, while I was the crumbling victim. I just stared at her. My mind was moving fast, counting down the seconds until my counterattack went live. I saw Maria, who was trying to get into the same college as me, point at her phone, her eyes wide with shock and maybe a little satisfaction. The other kids were whispering loud enough for me to hear. She thought she was so cool. Cinder, that ugly art is Cinder? $50,000. No way she deserves that. The betrayal burned like acid, but it didn't surprise me. The art wasn't just my dream, it was my proof. It was the evidence that I was more than the quiet girl they dismissed. Shay tried to use that evidence as a weapon to destroy me. But she made one fatal mistake. She only saw the surface. What Shay didn't know was that I had two secret accounts, Cinder 1 and Cinder 2. Cinder 1 was the one Shay found. It had the beautiful, impossible digital cityscapes. It had the application link. It had the personal essay about my life in the city. It looked like the real thing. It wasn't. After Shay saw the link 2 weeks ago, I worked nonstop. I created Cinder 2. Cinder 2 was a brand new portfolio, hidden deep behind triple encryption. This portfolio was submitted to a completely different competition called the Urban Renewal Foundation Grant. This competition was worth $100,000, double the first one. It required an anonymous submission, making it much safer. The Cinder 1 portfolio that Shay exposed was a decoy, a shield. The reason I kept Cinder 1 alive was simple. I needed Shay to feel victorious. I needed her to attack the wrong target. If I had simply deleted the link, she would have kept digging until she found the real one. By leaving the decoy, I let her think she had won. So, when she smiled at me in the cafeteria, I gave her a calm, empty stare. I knew the real application, the real $100,000 submission, was safe. It was already in the hands of the Urban Renewal Foundation. I reached for my phone, not to check the gossip page, but to check the time. It was 12:45 p.m. The counter-secret timer was set for 1 p.m. I watched Shay's fake smile falter. She expected fear, but all she saw was stillness. I slowly walked past Shay. I didn't touch her. I didn't speak. I walked to the garbage can and dropped my uneaten lunch. I didn't panic, but my muscles were humming, ready for the strike. I knew Shay was trying to rally the crowd. She was probably texting people to share the link more, to make it go viral before the school administration could take it down. She wanted maximum damage, but she didn't know I had already done damage control. The moment I saw her eyes falter 2 weeks ago, I quietly emailed the Future Architect competition, Cinder 1's destination. I told them I was withdrawing my application due to unforeseen personal circumstances, but I thanked them for their time. My withdrawal was accepted 48 hours later. So, the portfolio Shay exposed was already an empty shell. It was already withdrawn. Her weapon had fired blanks, but the emptiness of her victory wasn't enough. I needed her to feel the weight of her betrayal. I needed the final, total counter-secret to land perfectly. I walked out of the cafeteria and down the long, empty hallway toward the art wing. The sound of my shoes hitting the linoleum was the only sound in my world. Shay had seen more than just the Cinder portfolio on my laptop. She had also seen a confidential document, the Student Council President's campaign dossier. Shay's entire future, her path to her dream college, was tied up in winning the Student Council presidency. She had spent months campaigning, promising everyone everything. The dossier contained a detailed, embarrassing, and completely true list of every lie, every manipulated promise, and every small act of bribery she had used to buy votes. I was compiling it as her campaign manager. I was planning to use it to keep her in line, never to expose her. When I realized Shay had seen both my art and the dossier, I had a choice. I could protect my dream, or I could protect my secret knowledge about her. I chose to save my dream. I deleted the dossier immediately. I shredded the hard copy. I wiped the cloud backup. I sacrificed the evidence that could have instantly destroyed her campaign. I let her think she still had the presidency just to buy time for my art. Shay's betrayal in the cafeteria wasn't just about destroying Cinder. It was also a preemptive strike. She thought, I will destroy Maya's scholarship so she can't use the dossier against me. But the dossier was already gone. She was fighting a battle I had already retreated from. The true fight was now on my terms. I reached the art room. It was silent, smelling faintly of paint and turpentine. I went to the back corner where the kiln was kept. I sat on the cold tile floor. 12:55 p.m., 5 minutes until detonation. I pulled out my phone. I didn't open social media. I opened my bank app. Shay had a secret that went back further than Cinder. It went back to the summer after 8th grade. Shay's family was struggling. Her dad lost his job. Her mom was working 2 shifts. Shay was supposed to be saving her money from her summer job at the ice cream shop for a new computer she needed for school. Instead, she took the money, almost $2,000, and secretly invested it in a small, risky online trading account, trying to double it fast. She lost every penny in one bad trade. She came to me crying, terrified of what her parents would do. I used the money I had saved up for my own college fund, money that was supposed to last me 2 years, and I replaced Shay's lost money piece by piece over 6 months. Shay swore she would pay me back. She never did. I never asked. I just kept the quiet ledger on my phone, documenting every transfer, every date, every text message where she acknowledged the debt. This was the counter secret. It wasn't about revenge. It was about accountability. 12:58 p.m., 2 minutes. Shay was probably still outside, watching the phone screen, gloating, texting her friends about how she beat me. I opened the folder on my phone. The ledger was perfect. It showed the date, the amount, the text. Thanks, Maya. I owe you everything. I swear I'll pay you back before graduation. And the final total, 1987 42s. I opened a new message thread. The recipient wasn't Shay. It was the Northwood High Student Council Ethics Committee, the committee that oversaw all campaign financing and transparency. Shay's entire student council presidency was based on 2 things: a flawless image and transparent finances. Any unlisted loan, any secret payment, even one from a best friend, was considered a violation of campaign rules. It proved she had external financial support she didn't disclose. But this wasn't just an unlisted loan. This was a debt she actively avoided paying, a debt that proved she was dishonest in her personal life. 1 p.m., time to strike. I pressed send. The attachment contained 3 things: the complete, dated financial ledger, a PDF containing 15 text messages where Shay acknowledged the debt, a short, simple cover letter. This debt was incurred during the campaign period. It was never paid back or disclosed. Please review for campaign finance transparency violation. I locked my phone and sat back against the wall. The action was done. The aftermath: silence and resonance. The next hour was the longest silence I had ever known. I stayed in the art room. I could hear the bell ring, the footsteps of the changing classes, the distant rumble of the city bus outside. I didn't hear a peep from the cafeteria. Shay didn't call. Shay didn't text. No one came looking for me. Why? Because the ethics committee had moved fast. The moment they received the document, they had an emergency meeting. The campaign rules were ironclad. Any undisclosed large financial transaction, whether a gift or a loan, was grounds for immediate disqualification and a public ethics review. They had to act before the next class ended. The students outside didn't know about Cinder anymore. They were now talking about Shay. The gossip didn't spread slowly this time. It exploded. I finally walked out when the dismissal bell rang. The hallway was a torrent of students rushing for the doors. I saw Shay by the main exit. She wasn't smiling. She was standing next to her mother, Mrs. Davis, who looked like she was carved from stone. 2 serious-looking men in suits, members of the ethics committee, were standing a few feet away, holding thick folders. Shay's face was white. The panic I should have felt was hers now. Her eyes found mine. She didn't look angry. She looked empty. She looked the way I was supposed to look. She whispered my name. Maya. I stopped. I didn't say a word. Her mother, Mrs. Davis, stepped forward. Maya, what is this? Shay told us you sent this terrible lie about the money. I simply tilted my head, not breaking eye contact with Shay. I pointed past them, toward the glass display case that held the official school announcements. A freshly printed sheet of paper was taped right in the center. It was a formal press release from the student council. Announcement: immediate disqualification of candidate S. Davis. Due to campaign finance violation, all votes for S. Davis are void. New presidential election pending. I watched Shay's entire world fall apart in her eyes. The presidency, the college application leverage, the flawless image she had worked for years to build, all gone in 60 minutes. She used my biggest secret against me, a secret I had already made worthless. And I used her oldest, deepest secret against her, a secret that held her life together. I had replaced her loyalty with accountability. I turned and walked toward the exit. I didn't hurry. I didn't run. I felt the immense, heavy weight of the city, the busy streets, the loud buses, all around me. But for the first time, I wasn't just the quiet girl inside the city. I was the architect of my own safety. I pulled out my phone one last time. I opened the Cinder 2 portfolio, the one for the Urban Renewal Foundation. It was all still there, the real dream, the $100,000 grant. I checked the status. The application was marked under review. The storm was over. The counter secret had worked. I walked toward the bus stop, the sun setting over the high-rise buildings. The air felt clear, cold, and free. I had lost a fake friend, but I had saved my real future. And I knew, deep down, that freedom was the most expensive, most powerful comeback of all. I looked at my phone and changed the name of my portfolio folder from Cinder 2 to Maya. The mask was finally off. I didn't need a secret identity anymore. I just needed the truth. And the truth was more powerful than any lie she could ever post. The truth meant I was safe. The truth meant I was ready to fly. The end.